sorry about that. Technical issues, but you get that on the big jobs. And I'm going to jump straight back in because joining me this Thursday is the fantastic Libby from Truly Myrtle. I know we both had technical issues this morning. Good morning.
Razy, good morning. I've had so many technical issues, I've eaten my lipstick off.
I know, and I had to jump in and restart. As computer's high again, everybody. You think
computers? I know it's bonkers.
I know it's crazy. And while everyone's coming back in, I will restart. We'll shoot the breeze on this. And I was just telling everybody while you were doing your restart, starting from today. This is
you're right. Look at those bags. You got your own.
I know. So we've gone from white to black.
Wow.
But what's special about this? This has been a project that Claire's been working on for about more than 6 months now. She's very clever. There we go. Oh, there we go.
Oh, that's clever. Very clever.
Oh, so they are completely compostable. So these actually go in the compost bin. So not the recycling bin, in the compost bin. Put me in your compost with your food scraps or your garden waste, and these do break down. The only trick is you've got to cut your label off. Yeah.
Okay, yes, because that will have some sort of plastics.
Yes, so but it actually feels nice and satiny too. I like the feel of them.
Oh,
so yeah, I'm really excited.
Like you can get your own name printed on them.
I know. Well, that, to be honest, that's what takes the longest time, because you can buy these, and we were able to personalise our little story. I know it's in reverse, but it says here on the back. Let me tell you a yarn.
No, it's coming out right for me. Oh, that's
Yay! Let me tell you a yarn. Yeah, so it's very exciting. So it's very exciting to have those. So those are, Damien reckons he'll start dispatching those from today, which is awesome, because we've been supplementing with some plain bags up until then, which is good. Yeah. I don't know about you, but nasty wet weekend here.
Yeah.
It was hideous, right?
It was so wet. It was hot though too. It was stinking hot. And
well, we're grey. Well, Claire lives, so where we are in Nape, with the bay. So Claire and I live across the bay from each other, across the water.
Oh, yeah.
What did you reckon? You could barely see an inch in front of your nose this morning when you left the house.
It's less than 10 metres.
Yeah, it's that much fog.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The fog. And
it's coming through the air vents in the car.
Yeah, coming through the air vents.
Really?
Yeah,
wow, we haven't had anything like that. But.
Yeah, we get, it's quite crazy here, because we get, particularly when you're close to the sea like us, you get this sort of inversion layer. It's really weird. So and it's so 31 they reckon for us here today.
Yeah, that's what we've been having. 30. It's unbearable. I find it unbearably hot, and you're just tired and you can't really do much. So what did I do? I cleaned. I saw. And I've actually deep cleaned my kitchen, because we live in rurally, and so we get blowflies.
Yeah. And
I saw a blowfly come out of the fridge. So I emptied the whole fridge. I cleaned everything, and then I did I've deep cleaned my kitchen.
Yes. I know. Well, I did, because of the wet weather. I actually managed to get some knitting done, which I haven't for ages. And what I was just about to show you before, I'll show you before that, what I got before we got cut off. I was talking just to Julie from Harney's Hoolies this morning, and she's got a beautiful ladies' lunch tea, which Ethan and I talked about last week. We love. And as I was saying to Julie, because she said it's such a great scraps thing, but I've got it's spring, so we're talking about her
little stripy one, isn't it?
It is. And so if you missed the very short segment, we were talking about, do you get your colours done, back in the day? And so when I got mine done, I was a spring. And of course, most people, if you know me very well, you tend to see me in autumnal colours now. But I know, right? And she dyed those two for me. So these are already duly dyed, but on our basis. This is one that the mill did. And then I found these in deep stash. I mean, these are from a dye that don't exist anymore. Well, the person exists. They're just not dyeing much yarn anymore. But
that looks amazing. It's like an Easter basket.
Isn't it? And this, I think, for the ladies' lunch tea, so I think that might be my next project for me. I think that will be just a really lovely, pretty, happy knit. One of those.
Yeah, that's lovely. Whereas all the knits that are going to head onto my needles are like moody, or a little more moody. Don't be good anymore. I just like thinking, okay, here we go.
Oh, that's so good. I know you do, and I've gotten to a point where I actually am feeling I didn't do a tremendous amount of knitting across the break, which is unusual for me. I've been knitting a scrappy blanket, crocheting, just a scrappy blanket, and I find that just completely brainless, and I enjoy. But I have been promising for like a year to do this, which something from this. I just said to Claire, don't you love it? You know, you've got a teenage son, so you appreciate this. But don't you love it when you get teenage boys, if you leave everything out, they draw penises on everything?
It's an age.
I know, right? I just sort of was like, really?
Although my son is driving, you know, a lot at the moment, and I keep saying to him, you just need to slow down. Your whole life seems so fast. Just slow it down, and it just anyway. Young boys.
I'm going to get rid of it because I saw it before. I was like, oh, what? I know I am. I'm going to get home, and I'm going to find
the girls. It's their signature.
Oh, is that what it is?
Always drawing signatures. Yeah.
You see, I don't have those. I'm outnumbered. It's like me and the cat are the only females in our house. So. You know, so it's all fart. See, they've graduated from fart jokes to penis jokes now. You know, as they've gotten older. Joy. Anyway,
I say my teenage girls are right there too, but they all just snigger. Right, and you say something that you're like, oh, God, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, I know. And then they have this whole little language thing, like at the dinner table last night, and they're cracking each other up, and they were doing this weird clapping thing, like we're all sitting around the dinner table just, you know, shooting the breeze, normal, and we're just sort of talking about stuff, and then I said something to Hugo, and he looks at his brother with this sort of look, and then they start this clapping thing, a bit like the football, you know, the World Cup football that was, and then they start cracking each other up in their own little private joke.
It's because they're not killing each other.
True. I'm very lucky. I'm very, very lucky. Anyway, Interweave did say winter 2017 before it got peniled. Boys. And this is what I've been wanting to knit for the husband for the longest time.
Oh, that's so nice.
It is. You know how, have you got magazines like this, you know, like you tend to clear them, but then there are ones you hold on to because nearly everything in there is fabulous.
And I wonder, though, part of that is because you remember it, those things inspire memories in you as well. So I wonder if those ones, I remember those times. I remember that day when I had that magazine and I thought I'd knit that, and I even got the yarn, and then I never got round to it. But those were good days.
I've got a head full of that. Yeah. Well, what I love about this one is it's called the Whiskey and Wool Collection, and I mean, and the whole thing are all these incredible,
timeless,
sort of Celtic inspired,
very cool.
Very cool. And so that's what I'm doing for him. So that, of course, screamed. So it's called, I know someone's going to ask me this question next, and I'm dreadful. It's called The Limerick Henley by Marianne Benedetto.
Mm.
It's still available on, and now, but before you go, but Maree, you can't get this anymore. It is available online via interweave.com. So you can still get the pattern. Okay. So, of course, oh,
lovely. Yeah.
Mm. So
tell me, what's the colour of that one? What's the colourway?
This one's Ramore, which is the one I did my Nanook in. I think you grabbed some of this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. What's that colour?
This one is called a Hern.
Okay,
this would look amazing in your flux.
Well, yeah, and funny you should say that. I just had it this morning and I've put it over there. But Becky was saying in my podcast this morning that she made hers out of the grey, but it's the other grey. It's your grey.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. Where is it? I had it. Here it is. This one.
What's it wasn't the colour that I recognised the name of, or maybe it was. But anyway, she did it. She did a flux in that, which I was just saying that would be perfect. Yeah, because it has all the lightness and the woolliness and the texture.
Yeah, and serpentine too. Serpentine in this, I think, is, in fact, that's actually a sample that we can do for the shop. Serpentine.
That would be really good in that one.
That would be really, really good. Because we've got we had a couple of colours that we didn't have, and I didn't grab the other one, which is the deeper version of this. So we had, when we were picking the colours, we did a selection of naturals, right? So we had, so I grabbed,
I got the pink. I got that lovely candy pink, well, rosy candy pink with that really pale grey.
Yes.
They look lovely.
Oh, the bluey grey one or the Athonia, this one?
No, I think it's that one, clear grey.
Yeah,
I think so.
We've sort of like done the cream, and it's hard to tell in this because this has got, there is like, it's cream with sort of speckles and flecks and tweed.
Nice.
And then you've got like the Athonia, then you've got the Remor, and then there's McKenna, which is the darker, deeper one of this again. So you've got the 4 graduations, you know, for contrast colour work. So the McKenna we only had is a handful in the air shipment because it wasn't fully done. And then this one here, which is the Morn, which is this really dark.
Is it like a green grey, that one, like a licorice?
It is a really dark forest, like think dark forest green with
nice. Yeah, that'd be beautiful. That would be a good colour on you, Maree.
This,
I know, amazing colour.
It's my favourite colour in the room.
And if you did that with colour work, that is the body, and then you had that lighter, pick it up with the lighter. That'd be
I know. I love it. I love it. So, of course, I did mine in this because that's what we had, and this will go with everything.
Well, it's good basic, yeah.
So I did heaps of knitting, and I'm literally only about four rows off casting off the top. I've literally got to only reduce 2 more sleeve stitches at either end, so that's 4 rows. But yeah,
wow, good work.
Yeah,
it's satisfying.
It is. It is. And
my mum, one of my daughters is staying with my mum at the moment, and my niece, and so she's getting them into knitting more than I've been able to, actually, by the sound of it. But this particular daughter, and so she was talking about getting them to knit a jumper, but she was going to knit the sleeves, and then they could knit the bodies.
Yeah,
I mentioned that I was concerned the gauge would all be out, but that's fine. They'll all be fine. They all knit together.
Yeah, but if they do the classic, what I call the classic Kiwi drop shoulder.
That's what I've said, because I said, actually, you know, we could just make one up and then we could have like a bit of maths in it as well. But it's quite good then if you've got those pieces, because you can break it up. You do feel, I mean, as much as I love seamless knits, having it in pieces, you just, I've done that bit, I've done that bit. Yeah,
and that's what I was just saying before we decided to cut and come back, is that it's, you know, knitting something in pieces, it's actually been quite lovely to have the sense of achievement that I'm about to finish the back. And I think I'm going to jump and go and do the sleeves next, both the sleeves, and then I'll actually have a pretty clear idea of what my yarn usage is.
Good idea. Yeah.
And then I'll do the front. And I did a Aran knit. I don't really remember, but I did an Aran knit last year in the vintage board. Also from the spring interweave 2017 for the best friend, and it was done in pieces as well. That was the point you would pull over, and it was just a classic sort of nautical type Aran.
Yeah,
and I loved it. Because seaming doesn't faze me. I don't know.
It's just if you can do it beautifully. That's the thing that gets me. If I can do it beautifully, I'm all good with it.
That's the nice thing about this. Seaming on this is an incredibly forgiving thing to seam because it's already a textural woolen spun yarn anyway, whereas the vintage was really smooth. So, I mean, that mattress stitch, if you haven't, guys, and if you have not mastered a mattress stitch and you're still sort of doing what I call the lacy sort of, trust me.
Mattress stitch is amazing. We've actually, lucky in Wardrobe Toolbox this month, we've got Ethan coming to do a whole masterclass on seaming for us, which will be pretty cool because we've had our jumper that was steep. So I was like, we're cutting them up and we're sewing them up together this month. But it's really good, I think, to actually just get to grips with what happens. It's because it's not as difficult. Well, it's not as magical as you think.
No.
Once you actually understand the mechanics.
And also too, and I know he'll cover this off because him and I have talked about this before, is that you can tell a really well designed pattern because they will give you a selvage edge which is designed to go well with
the seams,
something to be seamed. So this is a classic example, and I won't show you that side because I actually wrapped my yarn around the wrong way. Let's show you the side that I've done well. And, you know, they've done that sort of the slip stitch on the edge with the yarn either held in the back or the front. And then, so instead of moving your yarn around the outside of the work, which is what most of us do when we're doing work, this is, you're actually slipping a first stitch purl wide. God, that looks quite rude. Slipping the first stitch purl wide and then moving your yarn in between those first two stitches. So there's never a bump created.
What are you going to seam into then? Are you seaming into the slip stitch or into
I haven't got that far yet. But you know what? It's funny. I notice when I see the finished image, and I think that this is not going to be the case. I haven't read all the way through the instructions yet.
Yeah, I know you should though, Maree, but I don't often do that either.
No, I usually do, but with the I'll often read through all the instructions, not the making up instructions. But, and there's this very interesting. Oh, here we go. See, there's that raised on the regular.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like you go in behind it, maybe.
And I am wondering, looking at it, I'm wondering whether or not they're going to have us mattress stitching. There's on the back, there is actually, can you see that there is the second stitch in is a raise, is a knit stitch. And I think they're going to have us mattress stitching through underneath the legs of the knit stitch.
That'll be a lovely detail.
Which will give you that selvage edge as a feature. Well, that's what the
because normally you wouldn't mattress stitch into your slip stitch, would you? Because it's like it's so much you just wouldn't normally do that.
Yeah, I know. So I haven't
really well get you to do that.
To be honest with you, I mean, this is the thing with that, is that because you're doing that, if you don't like it and it looks like a bunch of ass, you just undo it.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
So
definitely. It's good about knitting. I like that about knitting.
Yeah. So I sort of, but it's quite nice to sort of at least get the back done, because at least now I feel like I've, it's like reading a book. You know how you've got to get through that first couple of chapters to get into it? And I find that when you're knitting stuff like this, particularly with pieces, you can get into it a lot quicker because you feel like you've progressed a lot further than what you've had. Whereas there's something about when you're doing a top-down yoked design, and you know, when you've got sort of 380 or 400 stitches on the needle and you're thinking, when is this thing gonna freaking end? And I'm going to do, you know, when am I, especially when you're doing a Caitlin Hunter and you know you've got the stitches down there somewhere and you're like and what you don't realize is that by the time you get to that dividing, you're actually 3/4 of the way through the knit, and the rest of it just goes like that.
Yeah, and there's something nice about doing the back first. It's like that big piece of like foundation. Oh, I know. Right, out of the way, and now I get to do the fun stuff with the front.
Yeah, and the sleeves in this are really, really plain.
Oh, that'll be sweet relief.
Yes, exactly, which is why I'm thinking I might actually bang those out next, because those will be super fast, and then I can and by that stage I would have recovered you know, and then I can go back and
do the front.
So that's and we were just saying, see, this this pink is lovely, and I tell you, actually Claire and I are thinking we might send this up to you to have a play with. I showed everyone this the other day because they're saying, when are you going to get the 4-ply? Claire and I'm glad she's out of the room now. I can say this.
Tell me while she's not there.
Yeah, while she's not here. Now, I won't say fighting. We're not fighting. We're having a lively discussion. About Kelly & Co. The Finer Weight. I am totally all over the Finer Weight. I want it. And of course, you know, I mean, there's a reason why you employ people that are the complete opposite to you, because they're the ones that actually fill your weaknesses and gaps.
Yeah.
So that's why I have her. So she is now being this little, well, she's been more than the little, she's been quite the loud voice about it. I personally love it. I mean, look at, so this is the same color.
Wow, I look forward to seeing this. Yeah. That's lovely. I mean, it's just, you get so many of these lovely fibres from overseas mills. I think we would be nice to have, well, you know, one out of a New Zealand brand.
I know. The thing with this, though, is having seen the images and talking to Chris from Donegal around this yarn, is that, like, the intellectual property and heritage that goes into this is like hundreds of years old, and that's the reality. Like I know that.
But I mean, even just being able to purchase like branded Skeinz, so that it's at, you know.
Yes. The fact that we've sort of pulled it in, and you're actually able to get it relative. I mean, I'm really pleased that
saying there is a brand in New Zealand, don't you know, Maree? It's called Rebel. We know that, actually. I must
we do, and that's the thing. But this is the thing that we love, you know, because like what Debs is doing with Rebel and what we're doing with this is that we're able to bring these yarns more affordably because it's us. Like it comes through us. Same with Deb. You know, you're actually chopping out one of the steps in the chain, which means that we can keep these things affordable.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you. I think affordability this year is going to be the absolute catchphrase of all of our knitting. You know, I think
affordability and accessibility.
Absolutely. And and also to be able to have quality too, really good quality natural yarns, you know, even like Rebel is favourite, but like Bandit and Southlander and things that are not going to stupid prices and will last forever and still look amazing.
And stand up to a practical life.
Absolutely.
Those things. Yeah, I know that's really good.
We're sort of So I'll talk about this with you when we get done. But Claire and I have come to a compromise.
Oh, good. Does it involve me? I like the sound of that.
Yes, it does involve you. That's a compromise. So yes, but I thought I'd share that with, and just in case people mixed that the other day. Becky's saying, is that full ply Kelly and Chloe? Yes, it is, Becky. Well, it's going to be, but it's a work in progress. And she's done Flux and Remore, which is this one here.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Oh, Remore. That's what I was saying, Becky. That's what I was trying to remember the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny about Flux, you know, because I was looking at the catalogue this morning. You know how, like, with different trends and stuff, I think, you know what I like about Flux is kind of like sort of a wrap, and it's a wrap or a poncho, and sometimes it's a wrap and sometimes it's a poncho, depending on how you feel. I just have this whole I'm going through a whole poncho jam at the moment. I've knitted I've done a design that I need to get written up, but you know, it's on the never.
Wow, I know that feeling, but
but I just am wearing just sort of throw over poncho-y things more and more and more, and I just had this feeling that we're going to see a lot more of those, you know.
My mum, when I was growing up, she wore ponchos all the time. It just takes me back to the 70s when I was a kid with my mum and various ponchos and gumboots. That's how I grew up, and caftans. My mother's probably here watching. She'll be like, oh, God. But that's how I remember growing up with these in this. And I had a poncho. My girls wore it for a while. Mum crocheted this rainbow poncho for me, and a matching rainbow hat. She actually made one for me and my friend. But I loved that poncho, and my girls had it. I'm not sure who's got it now. But there's something special about ponchos.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's saying saying they're loving the fact with the full ply because it's not quite so heavy, particularly if you're petite or shorter. It's not so heavy to wear. Absolutely, it's
useful.
It is really useful, and also our climate as well. I mean, particularly even up where you are in England, it is a lot warmer. But you're right with ponchos, because it's like I just pulled this out. I mean, I've got this. Speaking of rainbow poncho, look at that.
Oh yeah, cute. Yeah, that's what mine looked like, but it was a rainbow, bright, like really primary bright.
Yeah, it's so much fun. We've got so retro is our theme, and
I've gathered some bits for retro.
Yeah, it is, and I've got there's a few things here. Hold on, I've got this is the one here. I thought I've been doing I have been doing some patterns, and this one, and it's funny because this pattern I actually think would look amazing in that full ply, but there are just patterns that look at that.
Oh yeah, that's wicked, isn't it?
Isn't that? I think that's really wearable.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Really wearable. Of course, the only downside for someone like moi is that the largest bust size is the 38-inch. Yeah, that was so 40 years ago for me, but
38.
38. I know, but isn't it? And look, it's the world's simplest pattern. I mean, look at that.
Yeah,
you know, it's not. It is essentially a really interesting stitch design.
Yeah,
with everything there. Now, this is the thing, modifications is, here's another idea for Ethan, says she, because she's delegating, she doesn't want to do it, is actually taking stuff like this that you've picked up and modifying it into larger sizes.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah,
it isn't that difficult to do.
And also some of the little techniques and things you can probably just mess up a little bit with them and make them a little, things that people are used to doing now or things that we do now.
Well, and you know that this is going to be the easiest thing in the world to do because it's got front and back both alike. So you're not having to change that. So seriously, this is like a knit maths thing. I actually should do that. I'll do the knit maths on that one for the newsletter. There you go. There's much more. But I just think that is it's cute. It's very, very cute.
Yeah.
So what's on your needles at the minute?
Well, I was just telling them this morning, I just want to do a quick hat. I just have this. I didn't actually bring it because I've just done a swatch and I'm going to cast it on tonight and then I'm just going to knit this hat and then I have it. But I just have this hankering for a hat and it's so hot. I'm having trouble wearing my hair down. So that's a bit mad, but I really had this just feeling like I just wanted to do something fast. I think I've had my head into things that are really big for ages. So it's nice to do something quick. And then I need to do a pattern to kick off Wardrobe Toolbox for season 5, which is coming in April. I can't believe it's 5. That just blows my mind. So that all starts in April and that will launch with a new pattern, which is usually an accessory. So I'm just getting that one on my needles as well at the moment. And then I have a few other things. I have a lot of things I can't talk about right now.
Yeah, I know. That's all right. It's okay. So what about though? But sometimes too, you have releases, Wardrobe Toolbox releases from earlier seasons that come through. Have you got any of those coming through for the general public?
I have. So I've just released Urchin this January, and then I'm thinking I'll put Haven out in February. What are we?
I've been really good. I've been very, very good. But let's put Urchin up first because Urchin's actually
Urchin has been a really good one.
Urchin's great. It's in the linen action. Let's talk about this because we can talk about sort of some other options in terms of not using linen, which I know you would have covered. For those who are regulars with Libby, I know that you would have covered this over on your channel, but for those that aren't, so here is Urchin here. Let me get this in the screen. There we go. So this is Urchin. And so you use the DMC Natura linen, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's in a sport weight, but using you got sort of that sort of more double knit gauge. What have other people? What sort of subs have you got, or what have people knitted with this? Because I'm sure by now you would have had people who've done this.
There's lots of projects now linked up in Ravelry because it's been in Wardrobe Toolbox for a year. So there are lots of people that have already made it. And it's the kind of garment that people are making 2 and 3 times. Yeah. So there's quite a few people that have done that. And they're doing all sorts of things from linen blends right through to cottons. There's quite a few cotton ones that are coming out. I find cotton makes my hands a little tired, but it does have a really beautiful clean look to it, and the linen I've used is quite slubby, so it gives it sort of a crisper look.
Yeah,
using the cotton. But other people have used things that have just a tiny bit of linen, like Amanda's actually saying she did hers in Amalfi. So that blend, which is like a wool with a little bit of linen, and that sort of baby alpaca, I think it's got in it, doesn't it? That one. So it's soft. It's that sort of softness and relaxed look. That looks really lovely as well.
I've got, if anyone, and I know a number of people for us will have this in stash because it's sold out with us now, but the Roslyn from Cascade, now see, that's wool silk.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
And it's at the finer, that finer end, and I think that would look incredible. And I mean, the meterage, because these balls came in, so 350 meters.
Oh yeah, that's quite good.
Yeah, that's quite good. So just having a look here, jumping down. Yeah, see, you're looking at so 350. There we go, meters. Yeah, so you're looking at sort of 5 balls. 5 balls for the largest size, and literally only 2 balls for the first 2 sizes. So it's actually something that's really, really economical. So if you've got stash yarns, we were talking before about this being the season I think there is going to be, we will be leaning on our stashes a little bit more. I know I certainly am. I'm pulling, as I showed you, that combination that I'm wanting to do my Sunday lunch tea. I mean, that hand-dyed yarn is, I seriously would have had that 10 years, easy.
Wow, yeah.
10 years, you know.
Yeah.
It's got to be knit sometime, doesn't it?
I think so. But also, I think you can look at it, you know, we can look at it with quite, it's quite exciting actually diving back in and reminding yourself what you've got, you know, just stopping and looking and thinking, oh, you have all the memories that come with it. I was there when I bought it, and there's that I was always going to make with it, but now I'm going to do something else. I really enjoy that whole sort of make, do and mend approach to it. It really appeals to me. But yeah, so I think that there will probably be something in your stash, because you could just go for a straight out sock yarn. I think would also look awesome, and something that I think is worth considering is lengthening the sleeve for that in between piece. So you can turn it into quite a transitional piece. So you could either have a sleeve to your elbow or down 3/4, and they can look great. If you might want to add a little bit of shaping if you go down too low. It's just a really simple little picked up drop down sleeve. But if you could take it all the way to your elbow, I think. For a lot of us, there isn't a lot of shape difference between our upper arm and our elbow. But from our elbow down, you might want to be thinking about adding just a little bit of shaping if you don't want more of a bell bottom, which would actually look quite cute too if you wanted that.
The other yarn too, I think that would look quite cute too with it, it would be Sock Bandit, which has got that lovely monotone. Yeah. Yeah. If you wanted something more vibrant, and it's a beautiful high twist, which means that those eyelets will pop, and it will also, you know, you may just want to play around with your tension and do a bit of swatching, but I think that would look great.
It would look great. And one thing about the eyelets is that if you have a crisper yarn and a higher twist, they might become more holy, like they might be more visible, but I've made them so that hopefully they fall out of the line of the front of your breast and your bra. So I just wear mine with nothing underneath it, but you might want to wear a singlet. But I would be a little bit racy with it personally. And if you know, wear a black bra, for goodness sake, just like go for it. But the holes will fall on the outside, and I think you can get away with you know, you can feel a little bit braver about that. So
fun.
Try it.
So what's next to be launched for the general crew? What was the other one?
So Haven is the one.
There we go.
Yeah, there. So I think that's the one that I'll put out in March. We'll have that. And of course, the doors for Wardrobe Toolbox open in March. It's a really busy month for me. But I thought it would be nice to try and have something all the time coming, because I've had some gaps in between releases, and it would be nice to start bringing them out more regularly. Haven has been a really fun one for people to do inside Wardrobe Toolbox. It's really lovely big shawl, lots of fun putting colours together, and it's quite a relaxing knit. And I've written it like you're going to stop now and have a little bit of it. It's about taking a breath and just enjoying the process and relaxing. Here's a bit you can relax now. Here's a bit that's a bit more interesting. So the way I've written it is like that, and you can add a couple of fun tassels if you want, and it's a really fun one. So,
and also a big size. And it actually, when it's that size, it then actually becomes as a garment more than an accessory. Does that make sense?
It's 3 skeins of yarn.
Yeah.
So it does. It just definitely becomes something, especially for where you are and I am, and the winter doesn't get so cold. You can use that on some days as you're kind of getting into the depths of winter. That's enough really to keep you warm.
Absolutely.
So, and for those of you who get absolutely freezing, we just tuck that all up inside and then throw something over the top. But it has been a really popular one in Wardrobe Toolbox as well. So.
And again, with putting those colours together, so you've got the two sort of more
tonal
together, quite close together, sort of tonal, and then you've got that contrast with the teal.
I like doing that. I quite like that that colour combo where you have sort of the tones and then something that pops.
What I love about that though is that, you know, I talked about this during lockdown. I can't remember which one, the first one or the second one, or the third one, depending, or the never-ending one for you guys, is that it gives you an opportunity to actually dig out those unicorn.
And that's why, absolutely. And I do have a tendency to at least once a year, and it's often with this April pattern for Wardrobe Toolbox, of pulling out of my stash random skeins that that you can't get any more, some of them. And so the idea of that for me is that we actually learn a little bit about what do I want, what is it, how do I get there, or this is what I've got and this is what it's going to look like once it's knitted up. but it's also a nice chance to pull things together and create something new. So I very deliberately do that, dive into my stash in the hopes that will encourage people to do that too. And you might have one that you love from your stash and end up buying 2 more, or maybe you get all of them out of your stash. But it's I think I can't remember now, but I think at least some of those were singles. They may have all been singles, actually.
Yeah, I thought there was a La BNMA single in there. So,
right, and the one of the other ones I know was definitely a single. So I'm pretty sure that was what I pulled them together with, both the colours but also the kind of texture, so that it's a lot of garter in there and it just gives that nice round. I love singles and garter. They look really good. So you can go totally adventurous with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, I just look at what I've got sitting here. Actually, I'm going to turn the camera around because it is relatively tidy in here today. People don't realise that I'm in the office, but so that is a good chunk of my stash. Well, not a good chunk of it actually. That's a lot of sort of deep stash and stuff that's so the more sort of colourful thing. And I have it here. Because we just love looking at it. We refer to it. I've got a lot of, and in fact, a bit further over the back is another basket that has got. Actually, I'll show it to you because I know that you will.
I love all the buckets and baskets of yarn around because I think when you get to see them, then they spark little ideas in your head, and when they're hidden away, you just can't always remember. Christine's saying that she's just done a stock take of her yarn. Listed it all, where it is, and they're going through the memories.
Christine, you're making me feel really guilty.
No.
See, for me, mine is more sort of lucky dip, Christine. I have no idea where anything is. I do have this basket.
I like that basket.
So what this basket is this basket is, and I know you've got a bookshelf at your place because I've seen it, is these are all yarn. So speaking of singles.
So that's a very Haven looking basket to me,
isn't it? And so what this is these are yarns from my travels, back in the day when one used to do such a thing.
Yeah.
And they're all yarns that I've bought, and I call them library yarns because they're yarns that I've not bought with a specific purpose, but they've been bought with the purpose of being able to use or refer back to or a colour. So mind you, to be fair, so those two are both that's got Haven written all over it.
It really does. But I think that's worth doing too. For a while there, I think a lot of us found that we're buying a lot of single skeins and then thinking, I'm not sure if this is a good idea. That would be gorgeous together.
Wouldn't it be gorgeous together? And look, so these are all crazy.
Yeah.
And they're also, that would be, actually I should keep those aside.
It's worth buying those single skeins because you just, they will, if you buy things you love, you'll find that they all go together.
What's this? There we go, 50% pole with linen and Surrey.
Viola or something. Who's making
this one is Field of Dreams.
Oh, I don't know that one. I think it might be that.
No. There's some, honestly, I've got some really crazy stuff in here. Some of it's, some of it is mainstream, that's Mayak.
Oh, beautiful.
And then I've got things like this because I just love the colour.
Yeah.
So you've got to have.
It would look good with what you're wearing. That last one.
This one.
Yeah. Isn't that thrown over the
top? Yeah, you do. So if you've got, I do, what I tend to do is that I have, this is, why did I buy this one? There'll be a reason. Oh, there we go, because it's silk noil and baby alpaca. That's why I bought it.
Oh, beautiful.
See the noil in there?
Beautiful.
And I bought it because I wanted to see because it's a worsted spun yarn and it had the silk noil. So, of course, I bought it saying to Peter, can we do this? I might put this back out because I asked him that ages ago and he sort of at me. But it was like 3 years ago. He would have forgotten. I'll leave that out.
I've got this brilliant new idea.
Hey, what do you think of this? I'm going, did you show that to me once before? Yeah.
No, you must have thought of it yourself.
No.
Oh no, that's great. Well, it's so much fun just poking through and seeing what you've got and what goes.
Yeah, and getting that inspiration. See, this is what happens. Hence the basket over there for Julie. See, now that I pulled those out,
files. Yeah.
So when do sign-ups start? Or if they start?
18th of the month. So they'll open 18th March.
There you go.
And they're always open for 10 days from the 18th. Yeah, March and September, the 2 times. So yeah, I need to get myself ready for it all to go again. But it is fun. It's just really fun. I've had such a it just keeps flying. Everything just keeps flying by, and then you get to the end of the season, you think, man, look at all the stuff we've covered. This is amazing. So I'm thinking that for season 5, because we've done a lot of taking our measurements and working out our mods for our body, and all of that stuff is there. And last time I bundled a lot of that stuff together in the best of wardrobe toolbox. And I'm thinking that for season 5, we're going to take a little bit of a journey into more techniques. And I started a little bit of that. And yeah, so I'll just see where that takes us. But I think we always come back to fit. And it's really exciting for me at the moment, because more of the toolboxes who have been there for a couple of years now are saying things like, oh my gosh, I've just taken my measurements and I've now done this swatch and I've literally changed this whole garment, and I wouldn't have tried that before coming to the wardrobe toolbox. So that makes me feel amazing to think that they're doing that now. So there's lots of that. So we've got all those skills, we have those things to refer back to, and we always talk about that stuff anyway. But I thought, actually, let's dip into a few more of these techniques that we can start mixing up our patterns. And really, I think when we were saying before about, this idea of diving back into our stash this year and things that are affordable and accessible, I think another thing I would love to see people doing is taking their base pattern and turning it into 5 different garments. And so I think a lot of what I want to do is around that. You don't need to be buying endless patterns, but you can make something yours from patterns. So we've started talking about that a little bit.
It's funny you should say that, because I am notorious for being a pattern repeat offender. I will knit the same design again and again and again, and add the infamous busky modifications. I mean, and I completely change the look. And I mean, let's face it, I'm knitting something, from a book that's 5 years or more than 6 years old. So you sort of it's actually okay to look back, and as much as we all look forward to looking for the next new thing, it is, you can create the next new thing with actually the current old thing.
It's hugely creative.
It is.
I think it also, once we start putting boundaries around what we're going to do, we're going to use this yarn because we already own it, and we're going to use this pattern because we already own it. And then your imagination can just explode because you've got some parameters. I find I get more creative in those moments when I give myself some boundaries, because I think sometimes the endless choices can be a little overwhelming. But I think that's also can be, I think this whole idea of comfort and security and reassuring, I think those are things that perhaps we will want to hang on to a little bit as well in the next little while. So when we've got yarn we already know, and we can, inject a little bit of ourselves into those, I think that'll be good as well. So March is when we're going to open again. So it should be good.
Yeehaw. I just suddenly realised the microphone was halfway across the room. God, I'm hopeless.
That's right. We've heard you fine. But now you are now.
I know. I'm just, honestly, I'm all, and then I can't get rid of these. I'm all over the show at the minute.
I brought a couple of patterns to show you some ideas.
Go on, because then I'll ask you the other question. You go on, show me. I like to tell.
Okay. So I just pulled a few out because I thought, I've got some ideas for retro that you could do. The first one that I thought of was this one. And when we were talking about ponchos, I thought, this is kind of in that vein, really. So this is a shawl that you can really turn into your own. It's enormous. It's a beautiful soft pole-width shawl that I did with Tandy yarn, and it has this like knockout fringe on the back. It's really simple knit. It's a really simple triangular knit. Throw it over your shoulders. In this yarn, it's just super, super soft and luxurious. But I thought that's quite a retro look, really. If you had the right accessories with it, and I keep thinking long boots and.
And also too, that's a sort of yarn that lends itself to something even a little bit more rustic, like Southland. Is it on a 4-ply?
It's on a 4-ply. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Southland Rebel Destiny Light that Debs has got, that would look really amazing, and it would look really homey. Just
it can be really homey. But if you added something with a little bit of silk, boom, you've totally transformed it into one of those sort of shawls that my grandmother would have worn when she went to Buckingham Palace. Those luxurious sort of things that you throw around yourself. But it's Maycroft, that one, and it's just a big triangular shawl that's just easy. You can make it longer and bigger if you want, but this is actually quite big. It's quite a big shawl.
But also too, that Maycroft, so speaking of larger and bigger, right? I mean, there's nothing stopping you, because what did you knit that on, a 4mm needle?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's nothing stopping you upping that to a 5 or a 5.5mm needle.
Make it bigger again. Yeah.
Make it bigger again. And I mean, I just see, I'm looking, if you want to go super luxury, obviously you can go Kelly & Co. But if you just want to go like really rustic, and I'm thinking, see my head, I'm looking at that, thinking Southlander DK, or even Southlander bulky, in a large size. I mean, that's all very outlander. You could double wrap it round, belt it. There is so much you could do.
I'm just thinking 70s, those dresses with the yoke and the frills off your shoulder and kind of thin, and then big flounces off the bottom. One of those chucked over the top, big earrings. That whole look, I think that'd be quite like early 80s, even that sort of era. There's that. It's not quite retro back to the 50s, but to me that's still actually nearly 50 years ago. Amazing. Along those lines, with something that is thicker. So this is in the Maniatoto Aran. This is Mary's old Aran that she did, and the name of this one's gone out of my head. So I'm hoping someone like Morgan will put it into here. This one is another. That's another one that's just full of texture. My daughter likes grabbing this one actually, and she wears it around here like this. But it is one that you could wear more around your back of your neck, this style, and then tie it back and then tie it underneath you. It's one of those sorts of ones if you wanted to do it like that. But
is it silver stream?
Yeah, that's it, silver stream. Yeah. So it's really outlander kind of style. So it's really, I mean, that's really like retro looking.
Yeah. And again, that would look great in those more rustic yarns.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is already an Aran. So going to
the other yarn that would look fabulous, and if you wanted to lux that up, would be Bohemia worsted. Or Bohemia. With a bit of possum and the bloom on that.
Absolutely. And soft and scoochy.
Oh, yeah. That'd be so good.
Yeah, that would. And then a couple of others I had that I thought are more recent retro. Well, if you took something like Kate and you made her in quite a crisp little knit, and you actually picked a size that was really close fitting to you and popped in a little bit of waist shaping, I think you can really get that sort of late 50s vibe coming out of Kate. Yeah. I think that would be lovely. She's got those lines that you would have seen there, just a little bit modernized with some of the detailing. But I think that Kate would be lovely. And you could even do a little, not quite a full sleeve, and just make it quite a little crisp cardi on you.
We've got that knitted. We knitted a Kate sample, which we've got in the shop, and we did it in a full ply that was the Polworth Yak blend that we did very short.
Oh,
but that we've also seen it done in the Flight Light Naturals, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, it'll be really cute, I think.
The other thing I would do with Kate as well is I would be inclined to raid the button tin, and do crazy, even mix match buttons. Yeah.
You can easily do that. Yeah, because you've got such a lovely feature with the buttons. With the there. Yeah, that could look really good actually. So I thought that was quite a nice one. And actually the other day we were talking in the Wardrobe Toolbox in one of our knit nights. We have virtual knit nights, and a couple of people had made Maree, which isn't out yet. It's going to be out soon this year. But this is a similar construction to Maree, and they were saying what a good fit it was. And I think there is something very classic about that set-in sleeve.
Yes.
That is a nice fit on people, and it really does create a good look around the top of your arm.
We've had a lot of customers knit Maree. Now, for those that don't know Maree was designed in our Chatswood, Sheffield, and it's a really comforting cardigan. And we actually, Kirsty, who worked here, she knitted it, and it looked amazing. It is. That set-in sleeve is great. I love it.
Yeah, so that will come out later in the year, not too long, over the winter, that will be out. So, and then this one I thought for last is this sort of 1960s, 50s. You could really turn this into one of those. The right colours, I'm thinking Greece. Those kind of, well, it's a bit later, but, it's set in those times. With those bright kind of baseball sort of knit. It would be really cute.
I think you could also do a Cape Breton type thing too, and like with navy red and cream would look amazing in that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. So that could be like a, what's her face? Jackie O, Onassis kind of idea, couldn't you? You could really mix that up. So I just thought it's a matter of choosing the yarn. I think a crisp yarn, something smooth, and then the right colors, some really strong contrast colors at the neck and the bands, and then underneath. I think you modernize it slightly with that, and I think that could be quite retro, sort of nice slim pants underneath, and some broguey kind of thing, not brogues, slip-on-y sort of things. I think it's look quite good. So those are my ideas for you. I thought you could make those quite retro.
And speaking of, we're also playing around with something we're going to do a little later on in the year. So that's going to be loads of fun. So do keep an eye out for that, everyone, because it's going to be, it's quite exciting actually. We're actually getting there. We've been talking about it for such a long time. So do keep your eyes peeled for that. Which is, my subtle way of just reminding you that, it's still happening.
Oh, good. Excellent, because I need to ask. I need to catch up with you, but yes.
I know, we can do that too. We're sort of getting there. Shane was asking long enough to tie Hap style. I think she was talking about Silver Stream. I think I think so, Shane.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It is long enough. And I think that, I'm not huge. I'm sort of no boobs. So I think if you had more boobs to go around, then you might need it to go a little bit longer. But you could make it in bigger needles as well and just go a little bit longer to do that. So I think that it's just, but I can tie that up quite easily around me.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Oh, well, thank you very much for that. Yeah, we've got a lot. There's some really good knitting, I think, to be had across this year. And it's, I think, so nice that we've been able, we've got Wardrobe Toolbox. We've got, obviously, we can find you Wardrobe Toolbox's subscription. But if you're not on the subscription, you've got the Hangout, the Truly Myrtle Hangout on Facebook.
Yeah, we're busy over there.
Yeah, so it's really busy over there. I love it. There's lots to see and do there.
And I publish every week over there on my podcast, so on a Thursday.
Yeah. So so this nice to have. We're actually really lucky that we've got these beautiful spaces. We have the speakeasy, we've got the hangout, we've got the lair over at Outlaw, where we're actually able to sort of mix and talk and collaborate, and talk about just the yarn and the knitting and all the things that we love, which I think is wonderful. It's really exciting. It's good. Well, thank you very much for. Sorry for the technical issues, but we got there in the end, and we'll definitely. We should try and catch up again when Toolbox opens.
Okay.
And,
we'll do that.
We can see what's doing there. So,
I'll get a regular
so don't disappear, because you and I need to catch up after this. We can do our business meeting after we've done this now. So thank you everyone for joining us. I will be back again here on Monday, and with any luck I'll have some nice progress to show you on the Limerick Henley. Make sure you have an awesome weekend, and it's looking like it's going to be a bit wet again. Good for knitting.
Oh, good for knitting. Oh, lovely to see everybody.
Okay, see you again.